Greetings, and welcome to episode 152 of Bardic Quest. Our heroes now follow a bloody trail through the ruins of Icespire Hold. Will this trail lead them to the gateway to the Shadowfell, where they seek to liberate Johann's soul? Let's find out. So without further ado, let's get into this week's episode of Bardic Quest. What you see here is another large chamber with skeletons scattered about. There are 3 humanoid skeletons in rusty suits of chainmail on the floor near some rusty long swords. And then there is a 4th humanoid skeleton in rusty plate armor lying slumped in a chair that faces a now empty fireplace. There's a steel goblet that lies on the floor between their legs, or rather the legs of the chair. And in the middle of the room, you can see there is a sturdy oak table as well, with tiny carved wooden figures strewn about across the top of some old maps. The trail of blood leads across the room, slightly to the left, out the only other door into this chamber.
Oh. This looks to be where the lord of the manor, this great warlord, starved his final days.
But what's the blood? That's new.
I don't like it, that's for sure.
Saga's gonna follow the trail of blood just to see where it's going. Walk
Okay,
slowly.
So you're heading out of that door on the far end of the room?
I'll follow.
Yeah, just peek out. I'm not leaving the room.
Sure. Okay. So this leads to a sort of L-shaped corridor. You peek out. It leads directly ahead of you. You can see some smashed doors, which leads into a much larger chamber. That's where the trail of blood seems to lead. But there's also a continuation of the corridor directly to your left, and to your right, you can see the start of a spiral staircase that seems to head upwards.
Does it look like the blood? Has it been dripping from something, or is it a dragging?
It looks as though it's been dragged. Something's been dragged.
Okay.
Goodness me, whatever was dragged this way must have been fairly... this was a small animal. It was, for it to have had enough blood to be dragged all this way.
Sizable. Another corridor and a staircase upwards.
Solene, do you suppose that the dragon's nest might be up the stairs in this tower?
Solene says there have oft been sightings on those that have passed by here of the dragon sleeping on the roof of this fortress, so presuming that the dragon likes to keep its hoard close, then upwards is probably the way to go.
Very well.
Very well. I sort of walk forward with trying not to step in the blood as I go along. I'm sort of like a bit like when you try not to step on a crack. Try not to brush up against either. I'm just trying not to get dirty, to be honest. This entire time, I've got my elbows in. I'm holding Lightbringer sort of gainly in front of me. Sort of won't make my way up the stairs.
Okay. You're all heading up this spiral staircase then, yeah?
Suppose so.
Yep. Saga holds her breath.
You head on up. And you look out as you get up to the top onto the roof of the fortress here. You can see the battlements surrounding it. There is a thick layer of ice across most of it. There are these little cylindrical stone chimneys that scatter about the roof as well. No sign of any dragon, at least.
Bloody hope not.
But definitely glistening in the light of the sun, a pile of treasure.
So, first of all, this roof is it a flat stone?
It's a flat
roof?
stone roof.
Like top of a keep. And secondly, how big's this pile of treasure?
Very big. There are thousands of coins here. Did you want to go and take a look?
We should look and see if there's any sources of danger. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, as I get to the top, I sort of say, "I think you're going to be pleased, Silene."
She says she pops up and she says, "Oh, that is sizable." And then she looks to Thorik and she says, "As I said before, caution."
I make space for the others to join me up on the roof.
Does the blood go all the way to the roof?
No, the blood didn't even go to that spiral staircase. The blood only went into one of the neighboring chambers at the bottom of the staircase. Yeah. Silene slowly starts moving across some of the ice. There's a crunch of it beneath her feet. She's constantly looking to the sky for any sign of anything.
There should be no dragon. I swear to you, we slew it.
We saw it fall.
I hope so. She continues to move slowly. Are you joining her?
No.
Yeah. I am going to very gingerly try and sort of skate.
What kind of ice? Like, can I ascertain if there's any source of danger? Whether it's like natural from? Is this like ice over water? Is it just ice? Is it solid? Like, what are we dealing with here?
Looks to be, to your eyes, certainly, it looks to be solid ice over a stone roof.
Okay.
However, as you step onto it, it is very slippery, and I need everybody to make an acrobatics check, please.
I was about to say, I would like to get in my shield and for Saga to push me like a toboggan.
I did consider sledding.
Ooh. 21.
Nice.
What kind of check was it, sorry?
You've had to cross frozen lakes and such in the four. This is an acrobatics check.
Yeah.
So you've had to cross frozen lakes and stuff in your past. This is easy for you.
3.
I can get like my heel of my boot to kind of crack it enough, crack the surface enough so I don't slip.
Thorik falls on his ass.
I watch Saga doing this, and I go, yeah, seems easy enough. And I take a couple of steps and go, yes, and then I roll a 5.
And you join Thorik you're like next to Thorik, just you both on your backs. On the ice.
Yeah, Saga's just heartily laughing.
Slowly just sliding along.
Silene has managed hers fine, by the way.
Yeah. Stay low. Low center of gravity. Just grab the railing.
It's like when you go ice skating and you're clutching onto the side of the barrier.
I would like to sit in my shield,
I'm just
and I
going to
would
wait
like
till
to
spring.
ornate ancestral warhammer to row myself to
Row yourself
towards the horde.
Could you just squire right now? Yeah,
Sorry, Christrid.
I sort of just sit up, looking rather ego bruised, and I look at Saga and be like, "At least do me the dignity of looking away."
No, this is too good.
Fine, and I try to stand up.
Jesus, lovely.
Which you managed to do, Tissue, and then very much have to really take a steady step. You manage to adjust to it, though, as you all eventually make your way over to this horde, which Silene has certainly begun counting bits out by the time some of you get there. The headline is this. This horde contains 400 copper pieces, 6,000 silver pieces, 800 gold pieces, and 60 platinum pieces.
No Electrum. Not interested.
No Electrum. It also contains 9 transparent pale blue gemstones, which to your eye, Thorik, are worth about 100 gold pieces. These are tourmalines.
Tormelinos.
So 9 of those. Yeah, 900 gold pieces worth of tourmalines. There is also a strange bottle containing a curious liquid which almost glistens in the light, almost looks a little bit like fur inside, but it's very liquid. It's not actually fur, but when the light hits it in a certain way, it looks furry. There is also what looks to be a wand of some kind in here.
A wand?
And a wand. A couple of scrolls, too.
Ooh.
Can any of us read them?
I was going to toss them to Thorik. These look like your kind of thing?
Thank you. Sort of go over to Marvellus and sort of unfurl them and be like, can you read any of these?
Yes, just because I don't like to doesn't mean I can't. Yes, yes.
Don't tell us what they are and we can say
I read
whether
it
they're
silently in my head, not out loud. What language are they in?
You, Marvellus, can't read the first.
Okay.
However, Thorik,
Ooh.
as you're glancing over, you can read it.
Ooh.
The first is a scroll of hold person.
Mm-hmm. Lovely.
The second scroll is...
Am I able to read this one?
You are able to read this one.
Lovely.
This is a scroll of Crusader's Mantle.
Ooh, very nice. If I remember rightly, that's quite nice.
Crusader's Mantle. Let me reference it for you.
Ooh, yes, very much.
Crusader's Mantle Concentration for up to 1 minute. 3rd level evocation, verbal component. Holy power radiates from you in an aura with a 30-foot radius, awakening boldness in friendly creatures. Until the spell ends, the aura moves with you, centered on you, and while in the aura, each non-hostile creature in the aura, including you, deals an extra 1d4 radiant damage when it hits with a weapon attack.
Very nice. Very nice indeed.
So, what would you like to do here?
Well,
I explained to Thorik what is on the second one. I say could be useful in a pinch. This,
and vice versa. Is this the complete horde?
Yes, all of those items collectively are the complete horde.
Thorik would kind of suggest, kind of openly to everyone, I don't know how my fellows feel. Coin is of no use to us at this point. The scrolls certainly would be, along with the wand, maybe, and the potion. If we took these, I don't know how my fellows feel, but maybe you and your companions would be satisfied with all of the coins.
That's
She,
mighty generous
kind
of you.
You watch
Thorik.
her do somewhat of a calculation in her head here.
yes, it is rather.
I mean,
And
I'm just
and
speaking
what
out
of
loud.
She says, and what of the gemstones?
You get 1.
Like I said, I'm just
keep the rest.
speaking up.
Fair?
She continues to do a calculation in her head. And then she gives a kind of friendly nod to Thorik in particular. And she says, I think that would be a fair deal, yes.
Thorik feels like
Like
he's
you're
put
more
his
than
foot in
generous.
it a bit. But kind of just says to the others, like, I'm sorry, I'm not really a money person, and I don't really see how it's going to help us where we're going.
She takes the 8 gemstones, kind of like.
I take your note about it not being of use where we're going, but I intend to survive this.
Oh, you probably have a trust fund at home.
Had a trust fund.
Ah, fair enough.
If you are feeling hard done by financially, I will give you both. I will give the rest of the party my share of mine.
It's terribly gauche to talk.
Be silly.
No, let's not talk of money. It's terribly gauche. Let's continue on.
Yeah, we have
So
a soul to find.
Silene divvies up your items to you, and she says, pleasure doing business.
I bet it was.
She says, gives you fair acknowledgement, and she says, people such as you are a rare find. She says, I hope you find what it is that you are looking for here.
For all our sakes, I hope so.
Thank you, truly. May your newfound wealth see you and your fellows into better times.
And she gives you a nod, and she's clearly starting to like separate coin into different piles here. She seems to have no interest in following you where you're going at this point.
No, she's got what she wanted, doesn't she?
Is there anything else on the roof of interest other than just a pile of gold?
No, just a pile of gold. Yeah.
Come on, then.
I slowly roll on the ice. Start to make my way off.
I don't
Saga
envy them
takes
carrying
pity
that
on him
handful.
and like extends a hand.
He thinks about. He reaches out a hand, but it's got the handkerchief in it.
Okay. So what are you
Come on.
doing now? Thorik,
Well,
any
I'm-
thoughts?
By using the old sippy action, I would like to discern what the potion is.
Indeed. Taking a little sip. This, you believe to be a potion of animal friendship.
Oh.
We'll give
Which
potion
leaves,
of
I
animal.
believe, only the wand to determine.
Yeah, I'll give the potion
Sorry,
to
go ahead,
Saga.
Thorik.
Just like have no
Oh,
friendship.
mhm.
I have no proclivity with such things. Maybe you can
Oh,
be friends with someone. What does the wand look like?
I like animals.
looks so it's brass in color. It's kind of got a spiral design, and then it has a gold cap at the top. Almost looks a little bit like a doorknob on the top. Atop this brass kind of spiral designed wand.
But I assume would take a little to attune to and work out what it is.
You would need to take an hour to identify. Yes, unless you had the identify spell at your disposal, of course.
I do not.
Okay. All right. With that in mind, what would you like to do now? Where would you like to go?
Well, down the stairs, back
Towards
to
where the
Well, Saga's gonna go where that other was. Like, there's that L-shaped corridor, and then the
Mhm.
staircase down.
Yeah.
And turn to them and go, so do we go down, or do we follow the blood?
Well, do we
It's
want
both,
to
isn't
know
it?
what this blood trail is?
My runes.
Yeah, it's
guided
not
us
clear
down.
which way the blood goes, but yes.
My runes
Thorik.
said that we
Correct.
would find our goal, the door, by heading down. So I suggest that.
Okay.
So am I right that when we get to the bottom of the stairs, there's an anteroom, the door to an anteroom that has the blood trail going into it, or from it, whichever it be. So as we get to that, I say, and are we ignoring this, or are we?
I guess we come back later.
Your choice.
Okay.
Fine.
So you're heading then down beneath, past through that secret door, and down beneath. Then is where you want to go. Yeah.
Indeed.
All right. So you head on down then, about 30 feet into the darkness. Of course, you have light spells up to guide you as you make your way down. And you eventually reach an empty room that is deathly cold. And there are 3 doors, one to the left, one to the right, one directly in front of you, each of which has chiseled into the stone above it the word crypts in common.
Oh dear.
I'd that ability you were talking about. I'd have it ready.
Which way is the blood going? Is it going into one of these crypts?
It is. The door directly in front of you.
Well, it would stand to reason as much as
Well,
I don't like
shall we?
Let's
Okay.
let's go.
You continue through then, opening the stone door where the blood trail leads. The door was slightly ajar, so it wasn't fully closed. Push that to one side. And you can see a small corridor that leads into a larger but long room where there appear to be 5 stone sarcophagi, if you will. And this blood trail seems to lead to, because they're all the sarcophagi, there's kind of 2 on each side, and then there's a central one. And that blood trail seems to lead towards that central one and actually up the side of it. And the actual lid of this sarcophagi is at an angle. It has been disturbed. It is not on flush. So there is a gap between the lid and the side of the sarcophagus.
Yeah.
What would you like to do?
Is there any obvious way through past
Is
these
it-
sarcophagi?
There is no other way in or out of this chamber other than the one that you came in through.
So the sarcophagi is like half, slightly ajar, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Does it look like where it's ajar, that it's big enough that someone would have gotten out of it?
Yes.
Great. Are they like claw marks or?
Yeah, there are some bloodied claw marks, I should add, on the side, on the rim of the sarcophagus.
Yeah.
We might have some undead on our hands.
Where is this doorway, though?
Saga takes a tentative step.
Okay. Nothing happens.
She listens out for any sort of noise, disturbance, anything.
Sure, give me a perception check. There is almost a subtle wave sound. Almost like something swooshing about. Almost like waves against the coastline.
Does it sound in any way like the waves we heard in Wave
Is
Echo Cave?
Not quite the same. More continuous. Less kind of staccato, if you will. That's not quite the right use of the term, but it's more of like a consistent whooshing sound, like a flowing, crashing sound, as opposed to Wave Echo Cave, which was sudden and deep.
Thorik will, going closer to this, and use the hammer to push the sarcophagus lid so it falls off an eye.
Okay.
I stand with him with Lightbringer.
So you shove the lid off, and it kind of slides as a grinding sound as it lands on the ground. And what you see, as you kind of peer in, is something very strange and unsettling, because it almost defies any understanding you have had of almost, for want of a better phrase, physics works. because you can see within the sarcophagus almost like a tear in reality, from which, like smoke billowing out.
Well, that's new.
Is that the Shadow Realm?
I think so.
Very on the nose, isn't it?
Aye.
Right. She
Well.
goes right up in front of it.
So this tear in reality is inside the sarcophagus.
Oh, okay. She goes right next to it then.
Okay, so you're just peering in at this point.
Yeah. Do we just...
Thorik takes
Jump
a
in?
grappling hook out of the bag, ties it to a rope, and hooks it over the edge of the sarcophagus, and says, I don't know if this is how this works, but if it doesn't work, we've tried. Thinking that, like, if we have to go down into it, that he doesn't really know how gravity's going to work once we go in, and he'd rather not, like, fall really far, so he's going to use the grappling hook to, like, hook it onto the side and swing a leg over, swing a shield over his shoulder, and say, well, whatever happens, we got each other's backs, and we are getting out of there alive. Aren't we?
Let's hope so, brother. So, who's going first?
I will.
Saga puts her hand in it. See if anything happens.
Thorik's getting ready to just go for it. You extend your hand in. And as you reach in, it's almost as though the shadows are trying to, like, grab at your wrist and draw you in.
Abruptly or slowly? Or...
Slowly.
Okay.
Almost like they're trying to slowly coax you in, as opposed to a sudden yank.
Okay. They're pulling me in. It's... Yeah, I'll see you there. And then she dives in.
And like somebody going through the flaps of a tent, you just go through this rift. And there's like a brief puff of shadow that follows you as you vanish out of sight.
Well, fuck safety, I guess.
Nope, Saga.
Slowly start abseiling down the road.
Just start abseiling down. All right.
With them both through and me no longer being observed, I gingerly sort of, like someone, the person that has to sit down on the side of the swimming pool and slowly lower themselves in. I'm going to slowly lift my legs over, so sit on the edge of the sarcophagus, make sure I've got hold of the rope, and I was like, oh, they'd better sing songs of this. And I join them as I slip down into the shadowy hole.
Okay. And as you all pass through, everything goes very dark. You feel as though you are floating, but also as though something were dragging you deeper into the depths of the dark. You feel this pulling sensation. You see brief fears that have ever haunted your very nightmares. And then, suddenly, you get a view of brief light. A very brief light. A dim light that just kind of almost wakes you steadily from some stupor. You can hear whispers on the air, whispers calling seemingly to your own names, as though something or someone is either expecting you or welcoming you to wherever it is that this rift has been taking you. And then your vision begins to shift all the more. That dim light coming into focus ever so slightly. Stars begin to form, but in a very muted fashion. You can see them up above you. You see also the image of the moon above your head. Almost full, but not quite. There are trees around you. Gnarled, some looking as though they might even be rotting. This looks familiar to you, but equally wholly new. It looks like a almost decayed version of the world that you know. In so much as where you would expect wildlife, there is fauna and flora, but it is diseased, it is unwelcoming, and you see each other. But I am going to need a perception check from each of you.
Oh, God. 17.
15.
15.
As you're looking around, really trying to get a sense of where the hell you are, because you're not in the fortress anymore, that's for sure. You see a small, shallow cave to your right. Glistening in the moonlight, you see what looks to be another horde. And silhouetted against the moon, a large creature against the wind, headed in the direction of that horde that is but 50 feet away from you. A large wingspan. A dragon of black scales. And a fiery sort of shadow surrounding it with these sharp, almost purple glowing eyes boring towards you as that rift that you came through closes itself up, leaving you here in the Shadowfell.
No, no, no.
And that is where we shall pause for today's session.
Ah, Dungeons and Dragons, plural.
Yeah, you were.
I signed up for Dungeon and Dragon.
Hey there, Questers. I just wanted to take a quick moment to say a huge thank you to all of our Patreon supporters and YouTube members. Your support really helps to keep this channel going strong. So I wanted to give a special shout out to each and every one of you, our incredible patrons and YouTube members, who are Woodstrapper, Simon Jelly, Martin C, Gallus, Gary Lloyd, James Hamilton, J.R. Bellaston, Robert Treadwell, Jason Udall, Jason Bradwell, Nigel Raggett, Rebecca Hill, Giles McGee, and Caesars. Honestly, your support truly makes a huge difference, and we appreciate you more than we can express. And to those of you who haven't yet joined, I would invite you to consider becoming a patron or YouTube member. Not only will you unlock fantastic benefits, including early access to videos, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, and access to our Discord channel, but but you'll also be directly contributing to the growth and success of this channel. But to everybody, thank you again for all of your support and helping us to tell these incredible adventures together.